Hello and welcome to round 8 of the UCI Women's World Cup. Here in Vårgårda, the riders have already completed the team time trial and now it's the road race. We're here in Sweden. This is showdown day between Lizzie Armistead and Emma Johansson. Weather conditions not looking too good again. The rain is falling and that could make for some tricky riding conditions out on the road. Let's take a look at the standings after round 7. Lizzie Armistead increased her lead after the team time trial. Emma Johansson has to close the advantage on Lizzie Armistead or it's game over.
Well, there'll be a lot of pressure on the team of Emma Johansson, the Orica AIS team today. She's been 3 times on the podium here in Sweden. It'd be lovely to see her take a win.
I hope that it's going to be a very aggressive race today, and it's live broadcasted for the first time. I think it's very important for us to put off a good race, and I'm pretty sure that will happen. And I know this course really opens up for offensive racing as well, so I think it will be like other years. From the word go, it will be attacks and moves going up the roads, and yeah, it might not feel that hard the first couple of laps, but I know halfway you're going to start to feel it in the legs.
Another Swedish rider hoping to do well today is the former Swedish champion from Vårgårda, Emilia Fahlin.
I think it will be hard. It's just that type of course that's getting tiring in the end, and you can race it, you can make it quite hard if it's usually fast and so many corners and a few hills in there as well. So I think it will be quite aggressive, and I think a lot of teams look to give it a try.
It'll be a big day in the office for this rider, Elena Cecchini. She'll have her work cut out trying to secure the Young Riders jersey for the World Cup Series.
I have the Young Rider jersey, so today I try to take other points, and I think that SWE will be the hardest World Cup for me, so I think today is really important for the Young jersey.
Giorgia Bronzini of Vårgårda, she's a rider that we know does not enjoy the wet conditions. She was second in Sparkassen, but today may not be her day. Well, the rain isn't stopping people coming out and watching the UCI Women's World Cup. Great to see so many of them by the roadside as we get ready for the peloton to get underway. There we are, Rochelle, a big peloton of riders. Marianne Vos over there on the left-hand side.
We can see a lot of nervous faces there when they woke up this morning and realised that it is going to be wet. It's an added challenge because it's a very technical circuit.
The Finnish champion, Lepistu, right there in the centre. She's had a great season so far. She was 3rd in Sparkassen. That was a little bit of a surprise result. So the peloton now underway, and today we've got our onboard cameras to give a little bit of an added dimension to this World Cup.
There's Lizzie Armistead, the World Cup leader, leading out the bunch today. Very important to stay at the front in weather like this.
Let's take a look at what's on the menu today. The riders are facing a technical and quite difficult circuit that doesn't ever give a pattern to the racing. Making their way out of Vårgårda over the mountain sprint on laps 5 and 9 and looping their way back round through the sprint lap on lap 7. 12 laps of this 11-kilometre course, making 132 kilometres in total. So Rochelle, the riders all together, but we can see one rider in the Swedish colours making her way off the front.
Well, that's a very smart idea in this type of weather because it's very difficult in the peloton, and the main challenge of this course is that you need to stay in the top 10 to stay out of trouble because it's very technical in the first part of the course, and then you've got the hill, which it doesn't look like anything to start with, but after you do it 12 times, it's definitely going to take the sting out of the legs.
Well, it certainly is. We saw the attack of Malin Rudland. There she is in the blue and yellow. And she's now been joined by Vera Kududa of the Bigler cycling team. And these riders extending their advantage now.
They are working very well together, and to move it out to about 2 minutes, the peloton would have to be getting a little bit nervous by now, so we might see a little bit of action back in the peloton very soon.
Well, this rider from Sweden is not too well known, but she certainly has produced some good performances. Second in the Swedish Championships this season on the road race, and also third in the time trial. And in the last few seasons, she's been known as always getting on the podium in the national championships. 37 years of age, and just kicking away now up this climb on the wheel of Vera Kududa.
Well, in that case, Anthony, she'd be no stranger to Emma Johansson, so we might see the Orica AIS take up a little bit of a chase, because they are two very strong riders out there.
Few riders at the back suffering with the accelerations through these corners, the twists and turns of this Vargarda course as they go through the town every single lap. Vera Kududa, also known as a strong rider, one rider that you'd always want in a breakaway, probably the tallest rider I think in the peloton, and a winner of a stage of the Tour of Bretagne and the winner of Grand Prix d'Autigny.
They're just having a little chat there, so they're obviously collaborating and working very well together. And it's much easier in weather like this on such a technical course. It's like a big criterium circuit, this. I've raced it a few times myself. They've just turned onto the climb on the course. And like we said before, it doesn't look like much to climb, but it's definitely a very tough climb. It's too hard for the sprinters and a little bit too easy for the climbers, so it makes a very exciting race to pick.
So in summary, it's pretty difficult for everybody, and the conditions are particularly awful as we're on board the bike of Beatrice Bartoloni of the Vårgårda team. As we accelerate round that corner, you can see just how narrow it is in this little section, and these riders just having to pick their way through these difficult corners, making sure they don't slide. There is Kirsten Wild, a great study of her as we come out of that corner, and she's got the rain going right into her face, making the vision very, very difficult.
What we saw there, this is Amelia Farland of the Vårgårda team, and you can see that the weather is very unpleasant out there. A lot of the riders using a lot of energy to keep warm, as Amelia Farland just refuels with a bit of a drink there.
What a great onboard camera that is, to be able to get the chance to see exactly on board with the riders. Right, we're 5 laps into this race, and Vera Kududa is on the front of this duo, leading Malin Rudland up towards the top of this climb, and she's going to look to take these mountain points. Not known for her mountain climbing, but today she's on the search of a victory in the World Cup.
Well, Vera Kududa also wouldn't have been one of the favourites going into today, but she's a very, very exciting rider because she just attacks and attacks and takes her chance. And you can see there she's very comfortable. She's no stranger to being out there by herself or with one other rider, and just got into a really good rhythm there. Not phased that the Swedish rider's not doing the majority of the work. She's happy to just keep pushing on the pedals and see if she can extend that lead even further.
Looking down on these two riders, so Malin Rudland, the Swedish rider, comes from Hasselholm and was 8th in the European Trophy time trial. So she's had a few performances on the European stage as well as here in Sweden. But all the Swedish fans in Vårgårda at least have got a Swedish jersey to cheer on as they make their way around the circuit. Looks like one rider making their way off the front of the peloton after just about 1 hour and 20 minutes of racing.
That's Chilkova of the Russ Velo team. She's got a lot of work to do to close that gap. It's a long way over to those two riders, but I'm sure those two riders could do with another rider out there to help take the turns and hold on to this gap.
Well, the soigneurs are on this climb. They've got some bottles to hand up to the riders. Despite the rain pouring down, still got to hydrate, still got to make sure that you take on food. You don't want to be left short towards the end of this race when it's very important to be able to go with the moves.
Well, this race, it all happens in the last 3 laps. That's when it's going to liven up, and especially having those two riders out there. You can see the peloton's not really reacting too much. They will let that break go out, probably not too much further though. I think we'll see some action in a moment, but Chilkova's putting in a big effort to get across to those two lead riders.
As you can see then, the sun is starting to come out. She's concentrating well. This rider from the Russ Velo team, who finished 8th in the team time trial a couple of days ago. And looking down on our two leaders, they're still working well together. It's Vera Kududa on the front from the Bigler team, and Rydland there in second place. So Kududa's taken the all-important mountains points, but looks like we've now got an advanced party making their way off the front of the peloton, and they are looking like they're a little bit workmanlike, and a few big teams represented in here.
Well, it looks like the Orica AIS team of Emma Johansson is the only big team that's missed this break, so it could be successful, but we will need to see a reaction from Orica AIS now, because that's a dangerous move.
Real strain on this rider as Kududa still concentrates on churning a big gear. And this Swedish rider has done very, very well to be at the front of a World Cup in good company, opening up an advantage. Over 1 3/4 hours of racing as Chulkova's about to be caught by this chasing group. She's been out on her own for a little while, but the group led by this former Swedish champion Emilia Fahlin. She's riding well in her, what is her home World Cup.
It's amazing to see how much a home crowd and a home race can really lift an athlete, because this is certainly a great move for Emilia Fahlin. And these riders here are not necessarily the favourites at each of the big teams, but that's a reason why it could be successful.
Emilia Fahlin crossed the line then, 1 minute and 58 seconds down on these two riders. So the gap, we thought it was dropping a little bit, but it's not. These two riders are still maintaining their advantage, but with the numbers behind, that should start to come down if the group work together.
Well, we just saw the team car of Bigler come across to have a talk to Vera Kudoda. She's a very experienced rider. Now we see Orica AIS take up the chase on the front. So it's Scandalara on the front for Orica AIS. They need to close this gap for Emma Johansson to be in the game.
Valentina Scandalara, faithful teammate of Emma Johansson. And Boels Dolmans right now are not going to do any chasing at all, Rochelle, are they? Lizzie Armistead will be working the formulas out in her mind and thinking, right, there's no need for me to do any work and chase this down. But look, Vera Kududa has got rid of Malin Rydland, but this group are now catching. Those two leaders have been out for a long time today.
Well, Vera Kudoda will want to just hang on to take these mountain sprint points for the mountain jersey. Be a great reward for her work that's been done out on the front today to be on the podium and pull on that mountain jersey. So she just wants to hold off this chasing group until she picks up those points.
She hasn't even looked around. Total focus from Vera Kududa today as she heads now to the line. She will take the mountains points. Very well done to her. She has worked extremely hard, and Rydland, for her efforts, also takes second place in the mountain sprint on lap 9. But this group are now starting to come across. And that points tally for Vera Kududa means that she will pull on the mountains jersey of the World Cup at the end of this race. The group are closing in, but let's hear now from a rider who's worn the World Cup leaders jersey from the beginning, Lizzie Armistead.
I think it just makes it harder, so it's more a race of attrition, less tactics involved. It's more about who's got the mental capacity to put themselves through pain when the weather's rubbish, and it just puts more people off, I guess. I always used to think of myself as an intelligent rider, but actually I'm not. I don't know if I've got the brute force either, but I'm learning to be patient. Patience is something that I definitely miss, and the times when I've been patient this year in races, it's really paid off. It's a nice position to be in, but it's not something that I planned, and again, I'm just going to try and take the next races as one-day races and not get too stressed about the overall, because there's nothing really that I can do aside from just going for the win in each race like I would normally. The Tour of Flanders was, actually. So, yeah, the Commonwealth Games was huge as an English athlete. It means a lot to my friends and family at home, to the British public, but to me as a bike rider, the Tour of Flanders is still the thing that I want to win. I was very happy for Ellen, and she deserved the win. She was incredibly strong that day, and yeah, I'll just have to wait another year. A van full of bikes arrived at school, and it was basically just a talent identification programme set up by British Cycling looking for female talent, and I had to go on the bike around the school field, and they thought I had potential, and it went from there. That day really changed my life, actually. cycling in the UK has grown massively, and particularly women's cycling. When I'm at home now, people do recognise me as a female cyclist, and it is nice to be able to sort of break down those barriers for young girls, that they don't just look up to people like Bradley Wiggins, etc. There is other female athletes that they can look up to. When I look back, there's certain events that I missed as a junior, family events like my sister's hen do, for instance. I didn't go on it because I had a training weekend, and actually at that age, at junior level, you don't need to be saying no to so much. I think you need to keep a balance as long as possible. There's plenty of time for you to get too serious. I just hope now that it's continued progression and there's no fallback. I think the last couple of years, particularly since London 2012, there's been massive improvements in exposure, and also actually the level. I think every year the level gets higher, and I hope that continues.
Inside the final lap of racing here in Vårgårda, and Chantal Blaak of the specialised Lululemon team trying to go it alone. All the main animators of the World Cup, though, in this chasing group, including Lizzie Armistead, Emma Johansson and the world champion Marianne Vos.
Well, it's Anna van der Breggen of the Rabobank team on the front there, but Lizzie Armistead looks very, very comfortable, and she's confident in this race, followed by Lisa Brennauer. So all the main players are in the chance for the win today.
Well, it's going to be a great showdown on the finish line. But earlier on in the season, Rochelle, we talked about where specialised Lululemon had been missing the moves. They hadn't really got the numbers up where we expected them to have. But now we see all those black jerseys, and they have strength in numbers in this group.
Well, they certainly would have taken a lot of confidence from that dominating performance 2 days ago in the team time trial to have come away with a World Cup win, and to come into this race knowing that on paper and against the clock they're the strongest team here in the race. We see now it's Marianne Vos on the front, so doing the work perhaps for one of her Rabobank teammates, closing down that gap to Chantal Blaak.
As we look down then on this group, it's incredible to think, Rochelle, that until the team time trial a couple of days ago, specialised Lululemon had not put a rider on the podium of a World Cup all season.
Well, Chantal Blaak's certainly giving herself the chance today, racing very aggressively, but she's got all the favourites in the group there, with Marianne Vos, Lizzie Armistead very comfortable, Lisa Brennauer, Emma Johansson still in there, and Kirsten Wild, fabulous ride by her to still be in the game here at the World Cup for the win.
Another little bit of a move at the front here. Let's just remind ourselves that Emma Johansson has to beat Lizzie Armistead here, or the World Cup could be finished and over with. A little bit of a stretch now as the pace goes up.
Well, you just saw Emma Johansson had to close the gap then, and she might have to do that a few times between here and the finish. We're getting very close now, but she's isolated because they missed that move earlier, Orica AIS, and they had to put their team on the front. So she now remains in this bunch by herself without any teammates. So it's a perfect scenario for other teams to put her under pressure, especially Boels Dolman.
What a season it's been. Lizzie Armistead won the Drenthe World Cup. She pulled on the leader's jersey. Emma Johansson won in Chitilio, and after then we've seen a bit of a battle developing between those two. At the front now, another little bit of an acceleration by specialised Lululemon as we look down from the helicopter shot. Lisa Brennauer sitting 5 wheels from the front in the German champions colours, and in fact looks to me like she's one of the only riders hasn't even got arm warmers on here.
Well, Rabobank have just taken to the front again. They're lighting this up. We saw that Marianne Vos chased down a move just moments ago, so that indicates that she may not be racing for herself or have a team racing for her today. She's opening this up to teammates, and Rabobank are being very aggressive here on the front.
So murky, the rain has been falling pretty much all day. We had that little sprinkle of sunshine for a little bit, but now really slick roads as Rabobank go on the front yet again. They are going to try and set this one up for another victory. Marianne Vos won in Sparkassen. For her teammate Pauline Ferrand-Prévot won Flèche Wallonne, remember, as well. So they've had a great season as we go slightly downhill, a little bit of a lull in the action again.
Well, this is an exciting finish because this is a race within a race. You've got Orica AIS with Emma Johansson trying to mark the rider of Lizzie Armistead from Bowles. So the race is very open at the moment. It's so unpredictable because there is that race within a race. But there's a World Cup up for grabs today.
Another attack here at the front as one of the Specialized Lululemon riders goes clear. That looks like it could be a big move, but it's sort of immediately nullified, and still Lisa Brennauer sitting towards the front.
Giant-Shimano in here, they've got numbers too. Amy Pieters still in the race here, and we see another attack now from Rabobank. So they're really going on the aggressive approach today and putting riders off the front and just hoping for a chance to get a little bit of a gap between themselves and the peloton.
Looks to me like Roxane Knetemann, the daughter of Jerry Knetemann. She's a fantastic rider, also good on the track, a former national Madison champion, being joined, I think, Rochelle here, by Amy Pieters.
Well, that's right, Amy Pieters. Her father was also a very successful cyclist, but she was third here last year, so she's no stranger to this finish, and she'll definitely be one to watch in the finish because she's quite a handy little sprinter. You see she's on the wheel of Chantal Blaak there, but Knetemann's just struggling to close that gap.
So Chantal Blaak looks like a perfectly timed effort here. She looked around and realised that the group were coming back, so she's accelerated to try and pull away these other two riders. Chantal Blaak on the front here. She's the 2009 European Under-23 road race champion, and she's looking to try and stretch this gap out.
Well, there's Specialized Lululemon, Giant-Shimano and Rabobank there, so it's only the Bowles-Dolmans team and Orica AIS back there in the small group behind them, and they'll be racing each other. Don't forget Emma Johansson and Lizzie Armistead, because it's so important the outcome of the sprint back in that little chasing bunch.
Well, when we think about it right now, the game within the game. Lizzie Armistead is not going to chase this one down. She's just going to sit and watch Emma Johansson all the time. That's all she has to do. She doesn't need to worry about this win. She just has to beat Johansson at the line. Well,
they're inside the last kilometre now, and this could be the winning move, these three, because it's not far to the finish.
Well, who's going to take this one? Amy Pieters sitting in second place. She won Het Nieuwsblad, which is notoriously run off in difficult conditions, so she won't worry about the rain whatsoever. These three riders relatively inexperienced in trying to sprint from a little group here at the end of a big World Cup, but here we go, in towards the finish line.
Well, this is a tight right-hander and a little bit slippery on the pavé there. 300 metres to the finish. It's Amy Pieters. She's hit out early. Chantal Blaak on the wheel and Knetemann in third place.
This is a long way to go to the finish line, and go so early. It's Amy Pieters now being challenged by Chantal Blaak of Specialized Lululemon over the little cobbled section. Chantal Blaak trying to win her first individual World Cup. She hits the line, she takes it. Pieters second and Knetemann in third. Marianne Vos finishes in fourth, and the question is, where is Lizzie Armistead?
Oh, it was a really hard race. The weather was really bad, and yeah, there were many breaks, and we had to work really hard today. Yeah.
A fantastic win for Chantal Blaak ahead of Amy Pieters in second and Roxane Knetemann in third place. A big win for a team threatened with extinction. All smiles, all celebrations, 2 wins in a weekend for Specialized Lululemon.
Timing couldn't be better for Specialized Lululemon, looking for sponsors for the 2015 season.
Well, the big question we need to answer now is, where were Lizzie Armistead and Emma Johansson? As we look here at the riders crossing the line, right in the centre, Lizzie Armistead finishes in 8th place today. And then further on back is Emma Johansson. And that means that the World Cup jersey will be on the shoulders of Lizzie Armistead at the end of today. Chantal Blaak won today ahead of Amy Pieters of Giant-Shimano in second, Knetemann in third. Armistead finished in 8th place and Johansson squeezed into the top 10. Well, there's our podium today. A tough race won by Chantal Blaak, and 5 Dutch riders in the top 5 places. What a day for them. Lizzie Armistead pulls on the UCI World Cup leaders jersey, but it becomes the winner's jersey, because she's worn it from day one in Drenthe, and with 1 round to go, the British rider, the Commonwealth champion, Lizzie Armistead, can now not be beaten. She wins ahead of Emma Johansson, now in 2nd place. Things could still shuffle around a little. Kirsten Wild, with her performance today, moves into 3rd, and Marianne Vos now in 5th. Vera Kududa was out on the attack for a long time today. She's now in the Mountains jersey in this World Cup series.
The young riders jersey goes to Elena Cecchini after her 11th place here today, but it's still open for the World Cup series with 1 round to go in Plouay, France.
All smiles from Elena Cecchini, the best young rider with 1 round to go. Well, let's take a look at our podium. There they are, Chantal Blaak, Vera Kududa, Lizzie Armistead and Elena Cecchini. The next round's next weekend in Plouay in France. We'll see you then. Bye for now.